I am back with round two of What is Theory and Why Should I Care? So let's get the PowerPoint going again. I had just made my prediction when we finished video one. So let me explain the details of activity theory. The general premise is this. Increased rates of social interaction lead to the occasional friendship formation. You might meet lots of people, and of that group, a couple of relationships might end up becoming something that's meaningful. And that results in increased emotional well-being. Pretty straightforward, makes sense, right? This is the theory that's used to guide much of the programming that takes place in nursing homes. But I'd like to offer you an alternative. So we're going to work through another exercise similar to the last one. This second theory is called socio-emotional selectivity theory. And here's the scenario. The war in Afghanistan and Iraq is worse. You've been drafted and you're going to leave to go overseas in 2 weeks. You're going to be going to war in 2 weeks. Same question. The weekend's coming up. On a piece of paper, list who you would spend your time with. Once again, if you'd like to pause the video and come back to it after you've had a chance to put your names down, that's fine. So please go ahead. Okay, so I'm back, and let me reveal to you my prediction. In this case, I predict that you wrote down the names of your close family members and friends. And frankly, you specifically excluded starting new relationships. So let's look at socio-emotional selectivity theory a little bit more closely. When people have relatively little time to cultivate or to develop relationships, fewer relationships is actually beneficial. This leads to emotional well-being. Now, we've seen some of these concepts before. Quick review. Activity theory said that increased number of relationships is good, and that promotes an emotional well-being. And clearly we have a contradiction here between fewer relationships being good according to socio-emotional selectivity and larger number of relationships being good according to activity theory. So let's take a closer look. Who has relatively little time to cultivate relationships? Well, obviously people in the military. But people with terminal illnesses also have relatively little time to cultivate relationships. And older adults living in senior housing have relatively little time to cultivate relationships. Just to illustrate this point, the average stay in an assisted living residence is between 1.5 years to 2 years. In a nursing home, the average stay is just 9 months. And there are some additional things to think about. Of the people who live in these places, a significant proportion have cognitive limitations, have dementia or Alzheimer's type diseases that it makes it difficult to have a relationship, because in some instances they can't remember from one day to the next or even 1 hour to the next. So it's nearly impossible to create a new relationship with them because they simply can't remember you. Not only that, but relationships need at least 3 months even to begin to be developed. So really, we're talking about an extraordinarily short period of time. Okay, I'm just about out of time with my video program. I'm going to go for round 3 in just a moment.